All right, so now that we've seen my little track that I created using GGD Modern and Massive, we're going to talk about the things that I like about it and the things that I don't like about it. Mostly, I love it and think it's amazing, but there are a couple things I am not a fan of. So first things first, this is your main screen once you get GGD loaded up in Kontakt. I'll get it out the way and just say part of the things I don't like is Kontakt. Kontakt is the worst. It's just so buggy, but at any rate. You got your basic kit right here. And then the basic kind of flow is then along the top, you've got the ability to kind of go through and change how things are processed. And for its just sort of standard setting, it'll go out just a stereo 2-bus, which is fantastic just for getting started, especially if you're trying to like just write some beats, get some ideas fleshed out, send them to your drummer, send them to your bandmates, yada, yada. That's a great starting point. What I've done here is I am processing the elements of the kit individually. So I do have things on their own dedicated channels. And then I've processed them the way that I like to process drums. And so first thing that I like about Modern and Massive is that the kit is kind of small, if I'm honest. It's not as big as other kits that they have, like the P4 one or Invasion. I think the Invasion one looks like it's huge. This one is a little bit on the smaller side, and I do actually like that, especially if you're just starting to program drums for the first time. Having a smaller kit just helps kind of make things more manageable in the piano roll part, which is where you actually do your programming or your kind of beat writing. So this is what the piano roll looks like in Digital Performer. So you've got basically 2 crashes, a ride, a china, a splash, hats, 3 toms, snare and kick. I mean, it's about as bog standard of a kit as you could have. And again, I like that. It keeps things a little simpler for me programming wise. I managed to get Modern and Massive for $66. They had a little sale going on, and I had kind of dragged my feet getting Modern and or really GGD or upgrading my drum samples in general. For really the past 4 years, I had been demoing everything ahead of time in Reason using really terrible sounding samples, but at the time we had a drummer in the band who was going to physically be playing everything live, so it didn't make sense to spend money on it. That and everything I ever heard with GGD sounded really good, which made me think it was really expensive. So that's, I think, why they're doing the, having Kontakt be the basically, vehicle that they're getting it to that helps keep cost down on their end, which helps keep costs down on our end. So I do applaud them for that. I just hate Kontakt because it sucks. At any rate, our drummer left the band. So as I'm continuing on with my art and my music, I decided to switch to fully programmable drums. And I've got a couple drummers that just kind of help me make my programming not completely suck. So first things first, if you decide to just get started with this stereo output, one of the things I love about it is these dedicated little mixers right here on each one of the different instruments in the drum kit, and that lets you mix the 2-bus to get that sound right. And I actually started that way because I kind of had a feeling Kontakt was going to be a little challenging to get that routing going on with the individual instruments. Pop back over to my mixer. So I started that way. My first 3 little tracks I made, I got pretty good results, but the problem is I really like parallel processing sounds on all the shells, and if you're doing just a stereo output, that means you're getting everything, and then you end up squashing the cymbals and it sounds horrible. So 4 hours and much cursing and frustration later, and many angry emails to specifically the makers of Kontakt, whatever that company is, I can't even remember now. I finally got it figured out, kind of, and I've got that routing all set up now. So for my processing, I'm using mostly really just Slate Digital products to kind of EQ and tweak it. So what I'll do is I'm going to hit play and just let you guys hear my drums, kind of where I'm at right now. Then I will bypass my processing and let you hear it without the my processing on it, because they sound great just getting started. So that's kind of where I'm at with my drum sound right now. Just kind of go through and quickly bypass these guys. And then here is without my processing. And then I'll kind of pop it on as it goes. And there we are. That's what I got. So for my basic sort of workflow and the way that I've sort of evolved processing my real drums when we used to use the real drums is, and this is pretty universal, I got this from just watching, Slate Digital videos and different things, but I like to squash the shells, so the kick, the snare, and the toms in a parallel processing bus over here. I like to use the Monster by Slate. It's designed really specifically with this application in mind. You can use a different compressor, obviously. It's squashing pretty hard, especially when the toms go. You'll see it hits almost like -10, but my mix is very low. I'm like 20% in, so... So that's how I like to dial my parallel processing. This Slate products, if you're not familiar with them, you got to check it out. It's $15 a month for basically like $5,000 worth of plugins, and you can cancel at any time. So you can, just buy it when you need it and then cancel and save yourself some money. At any rate, I'm using their VCC Virtual Channel Collection and the Revival, which is, just one of those like stupid kind of plugins that has a whole bunch of other stuff going on under the hood, but you can't see it. You just get two knobs for high and low, and just giving a little bit more bottom and a little bit more top to that. From there, I'm then sending everything over to like a drum tape bus. So basically, my idea here is, I want the drums to sound like they were recorded to a tape, because that makes it sound bigger, fatter, warmer. So I'm sending my cymbals then over just directly to the drum tape bus. So the shells get squashed and then sent to the tape, and then over here on the tape bus. And I am using also the bomber over here on then the whole kit, but I've got the intensity pulled back pretty far. It's only 30%. The bomber's another really cool Slate product that I think is awesome. It's one of those analog, Mojo, whatever sort of plugins that really helps your mix sound like it's not in the box, because digital is sterile and awful. So that's kind of where I'm at with my processing. I am really happy with how that sounds. I'm not I'm not Nolly, at this kind of thing, at least not yet. I just started using Modern and Massive about 2 months ago and really been sinking my teeth into it. I've been programming drums in Reason for years, and so I kind of know my way around it, but the amount of... or rather, I should say the lack of amount of time that you need to put in when it comes to dynamics to help make the kit sound more realistic is pretty incredible. Just a little bit of tinkering with the dynamics and the hits. You can see mine are kind of varying all over the place. I've got my one, that's just like when you first drop it in there, that's the level, and then, just kind of tweaking it from there. It really makes a huge difference. I'm really happy with how that's sounding, and like I said, I'm still kind of learning really when it comes to trying to program and make it sound more realistic. The only thing that I don't like on their end is that for some reason there's a hum in the room mics. And I don't know why, but it is definitely in there. So I'm going to just mute everything else out and just play the room for you. It's kind of like a ooh sort of in there, which is weird. It's not in the overheads, but it is in that one. So the overheads are nice and clear, but the room has this hum. So for me, what I was doing in the beginning of this little track was I actually had it muted because the drums are going on their own, and it just seemed very obvious to me, this kind of ooh sort of noise. So I have no idea why that is there, but it's only on the room mics. It's not in the overheads, and it's not in any of the other ones. So no idea. The real problem with this is Kontakt. Kontakt is the worst. For whatever reason, the way Kontakt works is as you're trying to set up your routing to get the routing to work, I was watching a bunch of videos that Kontakt, that they had out, explain that Modern Massive had, and it was like you had to try to do it in standalone first to get your routing, but it wouldn't work for me. I only had only 1 and 2 outputs showing up, and then couldn't get it to work in standalone, and then happened to reopen the project file, and it was just now working all of a sudden. So I don't know. Kontakt is so freaking frustrating, and it's buggy. There's some times where I'll open the project file and it won't let me change between the different tabs. And that literally happened just as I was getting ready to shoot this, and I had to shut down Digital Performer and reopen, and now it's just working fine. So I wish that they would create their own sleeve, like their own instrument or whatever. The problem there is probably trying to make it universal between different DAWs, and that gets really complicated is my guess. But if they could get away from Kontakt, that would really kick this up a notch, I think, as far as usability goes. And it's nothing that I would blame on GGD. I think just trying to get started, it was very easy for me to get Kontakt to open in DP. It was very easy for me to load Modern and Massive. It was very easy for me to get the stereo 2 bus out. Like, I was basically doing work right away. The problem became when I tried to kick the production up a notch and get that, independent mixing going on each channel, and it just turned into a total mess. So that would be my criticism, and the thing that I don't like about it. Kontakt just sucks. It just does. There's no way around it. And yes, I'm using the free version, but the real one is like $400, and I'm not doing that. I got better things to spend my money on than a full version of Kontakt. So and I use a bunch of software that is either free or have used like the Neural DSP stuff in their free versions, and it was never buggy, So just my opinion. I think Kontakt sucks. Any rate, that's my little review of GGD. I highly recommend Modern and Massive. I think it kicks ass. I think it sounds freaking incredible, and it's so close to a real kit. And especially if you're either bedroom guitar player guy just trying to put out some music, I mean, you could pump out the tunes with this kind of thing. There's also, companies that are now making like MIDI bass plugins as well. So I've been hiring different very talented bass players, I would like to say as well. Like Killian Duarte is a buddy of mine from college, and he's playing on a bunch of my stuff, and that's awesome. But like, if you're just trying to do it all on your own, get a MIDI bass plugin going on, use the MIDI drums, and just track your guitars and just start putting out music, that's at least what I'm trying to do. So hope you guys like this video. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you think of my opinions of things. Let me know what you think of how my drums are sounding. This is sort of an evolving template for me. I save each time I start a new project, I've been just working out of the same project file and kind of delete everything out, bring in the new tracks, and I'm pretty happy with the sound that I've got. I'm going to be releasing a single and an EP coming up that are going to have all real drums on it, with Slate Digital samples in there. But then after that, everything is going to be basically all GGD. So I'm trying to work on getting like a kick-ass template going for that release. It's going to be called 81 Years Past. It'll probably be out sometime in the spring is my guess. And it's going to be all this. So I'm trying to get a good template so that I'm, ahead of the game. If you're, getting new to production, that's something I definitely recommend. Try to work out of the same project file and just keep getting that template better and better. Especially once you start to get some good guitar tones, maybe that you like. Like I really like the way my guitars are sounding now. So I've got it saved. So when I start a new project, you just open it and you're already at least an hour or two ahead of the game. And speed is important. Time is money. Anyway, so thanks again for watching this video on my ramblings on Modern and Massive. Take it easy.